Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Garden Life podcast.
Woohoo!
So glad you're still listening. This is episode 10, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah, we've been on a roll. So we better make it count.
It's going to be a good one today. It's no longer Christmas. It's no longer New Year's. It's January, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, right?
I used to not like January back home, but it's okay.
The first few days are a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at my phone and it said the other day, it said January 4th. And I was like, oh, no, it must be January 14th. I looked back down and I was like, it's January 4th? That's it?
Yeah.
I feel like we've had 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That week in between
Impact.
Christmas and New Year's, those 3 days, 27th, 28th, 29th, literally felt like I was in work for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Everyone said that. It was just weird. It just felt long. But here we are. We made it.
We have a lot happening this year that's very, very exciting. But today we are going to talk about community.
Yep.
Community has honestly impacted our life so much. Like we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't choose to intentionally get involved in community and stick with community.
I didn't even know community, I don't think is that even a word back home? It obviously is, but I feel like your community might be an area back home. I don't know. I don't think we really talk about community back home. So obviously when Blake and I met, went to Bethel, obviously there's amazing people there that we became close with. But when we got married, it was COVID, which honestly we always still say was probably the best season of our marriage so far. Even though it's awesome now, that was just so fun. We were in California, so we basically couldn't see anyone
we got married the day of the 2-week lockdown that lasted 2 years. But the day that happened in California was the day we got married.
March 20th.
Somehow the hotel was still open that we stayed at a couple nights, and then we didn't see anybody for like 4 months, the first 4 months of our marriage.
Which honestly was bliss.
It was amazing.
We loved it. We'd only known each other for 6 months, so we
really just
had the time of our life.
Got to know each other, who we married.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
After we got married, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
So there is a Santa sticker on the bottom of your shoe.
Really? I was just looking at the back of there. It's kind of crooked, but...
Oh my gosh.
Liberty got a roll of 400 stickers from Mimi, and I'm pretty sure all 400 of them are just scattered
around the
house somewhere. So that's nice.
Anyway, so we get married. We have 4 months just ourselves, which we just needed in that season, which was great.
It was great.
But then God started talking to us about coming to Lubbock.
Well, I would say before we get started, kind of identifying what we mean by community. If we don't mean like, oh, just a group of people that are within proximity, that's your community. Community to us is people that you intentionally choose to do life with, that you choose to stay connected to, you choose to stay open with. And this isn't people that may think like you, talk like you, look like you. Like, this is a group of people that are very diverse, that can bring different perspectives to your life, that can challenge you. This is what I believe community is a group of people that you actually commit to.
Yeah.
And you do have a choice. You can choose who's involved in your community, in your circle.
It's kind of like family.
Yeah, family you choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say for me, this has been something that I've always desired, wanted, and even had, is people around me that kind of help build me up, encourage me, challenge me. I wouldn't have even got to California to go to that school to meet you if it wasn't for community.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for people thinking about me, praying for me, pushing me to go after things that they believed I could go and do.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for community, I would have never even went. I would have stayed exactly where I was for the rest of my life.
Well, it's funny you're saying that, because I was saying like community is a little different back home, but actually I wouldn't have gone either if it wasn't for community. Because I remember I reached out to anyone that knew anything about Bethel. And then the kind of group that ended up bringing me over for that week during that summer before I committed was a community, like was a group of people up north that were going over. They're part of a church. And they already had community in Bethel. They introduced me to a bunch of people when we were there.
Yeah.
So it's actually funny how really getting around people and going to Open Arms Church in Dublin was kind of where I started to meet people, hear more about Bethel, and then went, okay, I trust these people, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So probably actually it is the same.
Yeah. I believe for us together, when it really started, was we had gotten married. We found out we were pregnant with Liberty. We were actually fully planning on doing the second year of the school. We had paid our deposit.
Yeah.
We got accepted, all that stuff. And all of a sudden it was just like, I don't think this feels right.
Yeah.
I don't think we're just meant to stay here, have a baby here while trying to do school. We had some friends that we met at school, but like nothing that was like tight knit community.
Right.
And that's really what we valued, especially now knowing that we're about to have a kid. It's going to be something totally new.
Right. Neither of our parents
Yeah,
are going to be
exactly.
there.
Our actual family yours was ways away,
Yeah.
but really couldn't add much value how far they were. Right. So it kind of led to, okay, well, we need community.
Yeah.
If we're going to raise our daughter and figure this thing out, we need some help.
Yeah.
And so I had a group of friends that I'd been connected to for a long time. They were actually coming to Lubbock, where we live now, to plant a church. And so there was just something, the best way to describe it is just stirring in us of like, yeah, I don't think it's right for us to stay here.
Yeah.
So we started having conversations, and I remember I really didn't want to tell Vicky that, like, hey, I think we're supposed to move to Lubbock, Texas.
And I had a feeling we were meant to as well, but there was no way that I was going to say it first.
Because if you've listened to other episodes, we met 3 months later. She came to Amarillo, which is an hour and a half away, to meet my family. And she was like, promise me we'll never move here.
I was like, so long as we just, like, this is great. I can come visit your family, but I never, ever want to live here.
And I was like, yep, promise. Like, we won't move to
It's
Amarillo.
shocking. It's just completely
Yeah, it's
flat.
not.
Yeah.
You're like, where are the trees? I was like, there aren't any. Nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to look at.
It's honestly a little bit it's actually a little bit daunting and scary.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it
Yeah.
in my entire
So
life.
I know this in the back of my mind, but I'm like, I really think we're supposed to move to Lubbock to be with these people, to be around these people that I know that love us, that people that have actually been involved when we were dating of like, hey, this is good, keep going after it, helped us kind of.
Well, I even met so Blake's 4 friends, Keith, Natalie, Braden, and Leanne, were coming to visit him. Well, they were going to Bethel anyway for conference, but they came to visit him like a month into us dating. I remember being so nervous, and I went out for dinner with them, and I was like, I love these people. Like, I already know I love your people, which was really helped me to know like what kind of person you were.
Yeah.
So I just remember that really well.
Yeah.
So I knew that they were all here. I knew there was awesome people. I'd met a bunch of people. Sure, we'd even gone to the other campus in Midland when we were home in Amarillo visiting your family. So I probably knew at least 10 people's names.
Yeah, they had started to become more and more a part of our life together. Like you started to know them really well. But I went and told Vicky, I was like, I don't think we're supposed to stay here. I think we're supposed to move to Lubbock and help them plant this church and just be around this community. And I think you were just like, yeah, I think that's right.
I knew. I was like, okay.
Fine.
I remember the first thing I did was look up the nicest apartments in Lubbock, Texas. We lived in these.
There aren't really any.
Okay, well, they were still the nicest. They're these like modern, nice.
They're the newest ones.
The newest ones. I was like, okay, so long as I'm in these apartments, maybe I just won't know where I am and I'll be fine.
Yeah, that wasn't true.
Oh my gosh.
So literally, I think 2 weeks later or something, we packed everything into my one car.
Yeah.
And drove all the way to Lubbock, Texas, to our apartment, and started this life. And what was so amazing, the point we're getting to, is the value of community. Like, everything we had fit in my little car.
Yeah.
And we came here to just be around a group of people that we knew loved us, could support us and help us, and we could add some kind of value to them too.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just, we couldn't believe all the things that they did for us looking back.
Yeah, it was funny when we first got here. So Blake's best friend Keith, his wife Natalie, which first of all is amazing that all the guys here that you're friends with, all their wives are also incredible.
Yeah.
Like I got along with all of them. They all have kiddos. They were all a couple of years ahead of me. They could just start speaking into my life straight away, which I hadn't had before.
Yeah.
Like none of my friends were married back home then or had kiddos. So this was amazing that we had a couple of people that had been, oh, we can tell you about the newborn phase. We can tell you all this stuff. So for me, the second I got here, going for coffees with all these wives of Blake's friends helped me plug into community. But yeah, Natalie said, okay, well, we're going to have a baby shower for you. And I was like, okay. I was like, what? Like, what's that? And she was like, well, we just bless you with gifts and you come on over. And so if you want to pick some hosts. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I didn't even know what hosts meant. And you're meant to pick 8 of them. And then like you get them a little gift to say thank you. Like I had no context to any of it. Anyway, I arrive at Keith and Natalie's house. And they've just gone above and beyond. Like, people are coming from the other campus in Midland, Texas, that I don't really know to give us gifts and to bless us. Keith and Natalie gave us their doona, like all these hand-me-downs, which was
that was even before the baby shower. It was just as soon as we got here, it was like
thing after thing.
Diapers. Somebody from Amarillo, hour and a half away, gave us couches.
Oh yeah,
they loaded it up in their trailer.
Yeah,
drove it an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Him and me carried it upstairs. Like, it was just one thing after another. They're like, what do you need? We'll find it for you.
We had no furniture.
We had no money.
We had no money and no furniture. We lived on those bean bags.
God.
I was so excited about them. I was pregnant.
Ugh.
So Blake wanted to go and buy like a grand couch. And I was like, I mean like $1,000 couch. And I was like, no, we're just not gonna do that. We're not going to go and buy a couch we can't afford. So I was like, let's just go to Walmart. It's this cheap store in town. So we go to Walmart and actually it's nationwide. But we go to this.
What did you say?
Actually it's nationwide. So we go to Walmart, which we both don't love going in there. Anyway, they had these 2 grey bean bags with a back on them. They were little seats. I've never been so excited. They were $30 each. And we sat on them to watch TV every night.
It was great at first, actually.
What? You never said that. You hated those.
At first, it was great. And then
for one night?
For 30 minutes, it's great.
Exactly.
And
you
then
hated
you just
it.
sink to the floor and it's like...
Little did we know we could have sat on the floor and it would have been 10 times better for us. Anyway.
So we literally have this apartment with 0 furniture.
0.
And 2 beanbag chairs.
How do we even... Oh, we had to go and buy a mattress that first day we were here with your parents.
Yeah.
They brought us to a mattress place.
Anyways, we had nothing. We came with nothing. Like I said, just our car full of clothes. And the second we got here, it was like the community just gathered around us, supported us, I don't think we spent...
I was about to say that.
Unless we wanted to. We didn't spend $1 on Liberty until she was like 1.5.
Yeah, I remember... just saying to you, I was like, hey, like, do you mind if I go get her a couple of outfits? Because I know we don't need them, but it'd be super special. Now we know she's a girl. So we went to Target and spent $20 on 2 cute outfits.
Yeah.
But we didn't need them, which was incredible.
Yeah.
Everyone had
diapers, doona, like it was incredible.
Yeah.
But like we'll share some other stories, but even just that of the value of when you choose a group of people to commit to do life with, these things just happen organically.
And also I remember you said, because I was like, maybe this is an American thing, like the baby shower, like all this kind of, we want to bless you, we want to give you this stuff, like maybe it's a little bit more Americanized. But then you were saying, which I have recognized before, but you were saying how unbelievably generous Irish people are. Like, remember when you were saying, what was it? Like, people just bringing, was it my mum when she was lady captain or something? Like, people were just dropping over gifts like every week.
Every time that we're at your parents,
Oh,
It's like they'll even know that we're coming and they'll send you a gift.
yes.
Or they'll send your mom something to give to you.
To give liberty.
They're just very hospitable.
Hospitable. That's what you always say. Yeah.
I mean, your parents, for sure. Your parents, it's a gifting they have. Your mom's unbelievable. She remembers everybody's everything, always gets the best thing. She has like a closet full of gifts ready to give away.
Yeah.
It's really special.
So I love how it's both. I think Irish people are starting to do baby showers. Anyway, that doesn't even matter. We did actually do a baby shower for one of my friends, Rebecca, when we were home that time. But anyway, I just remember feeling like I was part of something when we came here.
Yeah.
And then we helped them like plant the church, and we were part of it from the very start, which was really cool. So we were just straight away involved in community.
Yeah, I think a huge thing with community that it brings is it brings peace of mind. It brings like, you never feel like you're alone. You always feel like you have somebody to talk to. When stuff is crazy or it's confusing, it's like you can just go to anybody in your community, somebody you trust, just be like, am I seeing this right? Are we even meant to be in Lubbock? Please say we're not. So
Exactly.
But it's like anytime we have questions or we're confused or things are hard, it's like we know we're not alone. We know that somebody around us can point us to the right direction.
Yeah.
And even like financially, like when we had no money, it was like we still felt covered. We still felt safe.
So just another story, Blake and I were sharing a car. So he had his little, we say little car just because the other one's higher, but it's like a sports car, right?
It's not a sports car.
That's what you used to say.
I would never call my car a sports car.
Well, what do you call a small?
It's like a Hyundai. It's just a 4-door sedan. It's not great.
Well, a shorter car, a smaller car. It's not small. It's high. It's height wise.
Huh? Doesn't matter.
Anyway,
it's a car.
Doesn't matter. It was great. So, I was working from home at the time. We first moved here. Blake was working in a landscape company. It was his favorite job. So I woke up in the mornings. If I wanted to leave the apartment from 8 to 5, because you can't walk anywhere in Lubbock, Texas. So if I wanted to leave the apartment, I would have to wake up in the morning early, like 6 o'clock. Well, it's not that bad. And drop you to work. And it was freezing out to come back to just maybe go to a store. And then I'd have to come pick you back up. This was when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Blake and I shared a car. We made it work. There wasn't really much to do in Lubbock. So sometimes I was just more than happy not to leave the apartment, just go for walks around the complex. Anyway, so we were about to have a baby, about to have Liberty, our first child. And we were like, okay, how are we going to do this? Imagine if I just need to go get her diapers or go get her wipes or go meet someone for coffee because I'm about to pull my hair out because I'm in the newborn phase. How are we going to do this? So we knew we could not afford a second car. Couldn't afford to get it, couldn't afford a payment, none of it. So oh my gosh, this is so funny how this aligns right with the baby shower. But I had just finished my baby shower and that Saturday, and Keith, who we've mentioned a couple times, one of Blake's best mates, he messaged Blake and said, hey, I think you guys should drive to Midland tomorrow for the service. It's about a 2-hour drive. It's not the prettiest drive. I don't want to go. I'm just not in the mood. I'm exhausted.
You're like
I'm
8 months pregnant, 9 months?
No, I'm the same as now. It was January. Yeah. I was like 25, maybe a little 27 weeks pregnant, whatever. So anyway, I'm like, I just don't want to go. I've had a big weekend. I'm not waking up early in the morning and driving to Midland. I just don't want to go. And Keith was like, I really think you guys are meant to go. And I was like, if he tries to pull some spiritual stuff, some Jesus stuff.
God told me.
Yeah. I'm like, we're not going.
Yeah.
So we wake up. The day goes on and Blake's like, I really, really think we should go. I think you'll find it relaxing. We can just chat. We can have a coffee on the way in the car. It'll be fine. And I'm like, for goodness sake, you two are pissing me off, but let's get in the car and go. So we go to Midland and we get to Midland, and on the way, about 30 minutes out of Midland, Blake just said, hey, let's just pray for that car because we need a second car. It's still a conversation that we're having in the car. What are we going to do about it? So you just said, well, we can't afford one. So God, I just pray that someone gives us a car.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the car thing was like an often conversation we had of
Right.
like, you can't just sit at home when I'm at work all day. And so, yeah, I just say that's silly thing going to Midland of like, okay, Lord, you know, we can't afford a car. So, but we need a second car for our baby.
Right.
So can you just give us one? Like, anyways, so we go to the service in Midland, normal church service. We get done. We're saying hi to a few people. And my friend Keith is acting a little weird.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. He's like, hey, I want to introduce you to these people. I'm like, okay, great. They were a young couple. They're younger than us. Mm-hmm. And they started coming over, and the guy's like acting a little weird, kind of shy. And he's just like, hey, my name's so-and-so. Do you guys need a car? And I was just like, what? And he was like, we want to give you guys a car. And Vicky's just like,
I like literally started
freaking
weeping.
out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, we have a car. We want to give it to you. Do you want to see it? And at this point, I don't know. I'm so uncomfortable. I don't know how to act.
Whereas I'm like, you prayed for this. Like, I'm like, what's happening?
So Vicky's like already crying.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's him and his wife. He's like, do y'all want to go see it?
Well, he said, we got a new car. We had an old one to give away. And God said, I want you to give this car away. So he texted the pastor down there who
Yeah,
does.
he told us this after. Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Who does know us. But we're in Lubbock. So I'm not like our names were thrown in the pot. So he had 3 or 4 couples he was praying about. And literally he said, I heard God say tangibly, this is for Blake and Vicky Duffendak.
Yeah.
So he tells us that. I thought he told us it before when we're in the foyer.
Maybe he did. But
Anyway.
I remember him specifically saying, we had this car. We thought about trying to sell it. But every time we tried to go to sell it, it just didn't feel like we were supposed to.
Yes.
And then we felt like we were supposed to just give it away. So anyways, he's like, do you want to go see it? We're like, sure. So we're walking out to the parking lot of the church. And there's like probably 15 people that have kind of known this is going to happen, that are following us, waiting for our reaction. So we walk into the parking lot and we're like, whatever it is, if it can get us to Lubbock, we'd be so happy.
I've always said like, I don't care. Just
what did you call it?
A banger.
A banger.
I don't care. Like, I'll drive anything. Like,
yeah, just anything.
But there's also one other thing that I have always said. Since I met Blake, I'm like, babe, when we make it one day, when we have all the money in the world, can you please buy me a white Range Rover? Mm-hmm. I want my white Range Rover. So we walk over and we literally walk right up and stop at this white Range Rover. Mm-hmm. And I think I was pregnant. So I think I just like squatted to the floor. I couldn't. And I literally was like, started bawling.
Yeah.
And I was like, they didn't know what, I mean, they knew I was crying because we're getting gifted a white Ranger, but like it sounds silly, but the context of like Blake and I both know that I have always said like my favorite car would be a white Ranger. And like I said, not bratty my whole life. I'm like, I don't care what I drive, but one day, like
when we've made it.
Yeah, like it'd be nice to have that. How cool would that be? Uh-huh. So I tell them that, oh no, like if you could give me any car in the entire world, it would be a white Range Rover, and we're here standing at one. Like I was just blown away. Like not the fact of the detail of it being like.
I mean, it was literally like a kiss from the Lord of like, not only did I hear your prayer of you need a car, you can't do anything to buy one, but I also know Vicky's heart and I want the best for both of you.
It was crazy.
And even to hear that couple say, no, the Lord told us this car belongs to Blake and Vicky.
Right. And it was a car for me and Liberty to drive around in.
Yeah.
Around Lubbock. Don't like Lubbock. It's miserable. It's this huge sacrifice.
It was a sacrifice for you to come here.
It's this huge sacrifice to come here.
Yeah.
And God's like, look, I know it's been awful. I know that the only nice, attractive thing I can give you apart from your husband and daughter in Lubbock, Texas, is a white Range Rover. So here you go.
Yeah. It was,
Kept me here for a little longer.
so literally he handed us, signed over the title, gave us the keys, and Vicky drove it back to Lubbock that day. And we weren't even going to go to that service.
Nope.
We weren't even going to go.
Oh, so every time since that I don't want to go do something, Blake's like, you never know. I'm like, oh, if you use that against me every time. Yeah, it's funny. I'd heard of like, once I got to Bethel, I'd heard of people being like, oh my goodness, someone blessed me with a car, or like someone gave us our first house. And I'm like, oh my.
There's some crazy stories.
Crazy, incredible faith stories. And I'm like, that's incredible. So for this to happen to us was mind blowing, like absolutely out of this world.
Well, I would say too that it even showed me just a different perspective of God. Like I was actually, the best way I could describe it was like offended by the generosity.
Yeah.
It's just like when we told your parents, they're like, is there drugs in the car? Like,
yeah, did they steal
did
it?
they run over somebody with it? They gave it to you? Like,
What happened?
and you can't blame them. Like, this is absurd.
Right.
That what they just did.
Right.
But it's like, that is the nature of God. Like, God actually wants to do something like that for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, he loves you so much. He knows specifically your heart's desires, and he wants to bless you.
Yeah.
Like, and that just took me to a new level with God of like, wow, like he's so good. He cares about every detail of our life.
Yeah. What was your next prayer?
I don't remember.
Must be a good one.
So yeah, I mean, community has played a huge part in our lives, and not just, those are crazy stories that are fun to tell, but there's so much more of when we've needed direction for our life, when things were hard in the newborn phase, like people just stepped up, supported us, would come and just sit with you while I was at work, and just truly, truly special people. Like we truly believe and say this all the time. When you find your people, you find your purpose.
Yeah.
And since we came to Lubbock, we didn't want to be here in the sense of the area,
Right.
but we came here for community.
Yeah.
We came here to be with people.
Yeah.
And it's radically, completely changed our life. And there's things happening even this year that could not happen without community, without the people that we chose to stick with, even when sometimes we disagreed, even when sometimes we got frustrated, but we were like, no, these are our people.
Right.
And we're going to find our purpose within these relationships.
Yeah.
And it's happened. So the reason we wanted to spend a whole episode on this is because it just has so much value. I mean, I actually believe that you can't reach your full potential without getting involved in community.
Yeah.
Without being around a group of people to help you get there. There's some kind of saying, I don't know if I know it accurately, but it's like, you can get somewhere fast going by yourself, but you can go further if you're with other people. Mm-hmm. It's like, I just think isolation is one of the biggest enemies in people's lives.
Yeah.
When we go through hard stuff, when we go through trauma, we just want to get alone. We want to isolate. We don't want to talk to anyone. We don't want to expose our feelings, all of those things. And it's just the worst place you can be, because you're sitting there stuck with your thoughts without having any other thing battling those lies, really.
Right.
And you're just stuck in it, and you have no other perspective. The value of community, the value of having people that believe in you, is they can recognize, hey, you're not acting like yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, you actually don't believe that. They can just pick you up, dust you off, give you a little butt tap, and just say, keep going.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many times people have done that in our life is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, we wouldn't be where we are without community.
Yeah.
So if you don't have community, you're looking for it, I would just encourage you to find people that challenge you, find people that encourage you, and people that are actually going after the same things that you want to go after.
Yeah.
Like, identify, what are the things that I really value? Is there anybody around me that values the same thing, that wants to go after the same thing, and commit to each other to do it?
Yeah. It's good.
And I believe in today's world, I mean, all the depression and the anxiety and all that stuff, isolation just gives fuel to all of that.
Yeah.
Like isolation is depression's best friend. You want to stay depressed, stay alone. If you want to get out of it, if you want to be less anxious, if you want to have more peace, bring some people around you.
Yeah.
Get involved in community. It'll absolutely change your life.
And you'll think it might be painful, but that's what's going to set you free.
Yeah.
Is being around people, letting them call it out on you, letting them help you, letting them pray with you. Like, it's just what you need.
It's good.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our community conversation. Maybe give me a language, maybe give me a word for back home instead of community. Maybe just text me and tell me what that would be called back home, if there's such a thing. Your friends? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed listening, and yeah, we'll be back next week.
Bye.